You find that when meetings like this hold, many of the developing countries are on the receiving end. I mean, we're there to hear what the British government or the Commonwealth has for Africa. It's a question we ask for these developing countries. What are they giving us at this time? I remember a conversation you had on Channels TV, and it talked about what Africa is bringing to the table. When we attend meetings like this, what are we bringing? Apart from, the British government promising to give thousands of pounds, millions of pounds, towards education and health, fighting malaria, and so on. What are we bringing to the table? What's Jamaica bringing to the table when it comes to meetings like this?
Well, as an investment destination, the Prime Minister of Jamaica participated in forums that took place prior to the heads of government meeting, and he was able to meet with investors, potential investors and businessmen of Jamaican origin as well as UK businessmen, and was able to promote Jamaica as an investment destination in areas such as tourism, in areas such as logistics, in areas such as business process outsourcing, and so on. And so it is felt that there is room for mutually advantageous arrangements between our countries in the area of trade in that context.
Ambassador Arkwright, do you find it the pattern that, when meetings like this hold, you find that you, probably the British government or the Commonwealth, is the benefactor of many of these projects? I mean, you're working on so many things. Do you ever have any expectations for member countries as they meet in CHOGM?
Well, yes, we talked about CHOGM and indeed the Commonwealth as a family of nations, and I like to think that in a family everybody's equal. These are sovereign nations. They have a link, many of them, not all of them, have a link with the United Kingdom. And of course the UK has chaired and hosted this year's CHOGM. But as I said earlier, the Commonwealth is not just about the UK. And of course we benefit. We benefit from free trade. We benefit from a resistance to protectionism in the same way that other countries do. The ambassador was talking about some of those issues, about the risk to smaller countries, developing countries, of barriers. Well, the whole point of CHOGM was to reduce those barriers, actually to make it easier for goods to flow. That does not mean that Nigeria will be flooded with cheap goods from other Commonwealth countries. Of course, there has to be some safeguards against that kind of thing. But actually, the fact is, if you talk to any economist who understands about the way developing countries actually emerge from poverty into a state where they are no longer developing but developed countries, the one key thing that turns them from developing to developed countries is competitive exports. You have to trade. In a global world, you have no choice. So that's why we are worried about protectionism. It's why we're worried about movements around the world which suggest that raising those barriers, raising walls, obstacles to trade, is a very dangerous thing, because it makes it so much more difficult for Nigeria and other African countries to export.
And I know that's supposed to be the message for Nigeria also, but we recently shied away from signing an agreement. So how are we proving commitment to the Commonwealth and not to Africa?
Yes, that agreement we did not sign. We didn't also foreclose it completely. The president said there needed to be more consultation, particularly with the organized private sector, particularly with labor unions, so that everybody is carried along. And he added that anything that had a potential of stifling local industries, Nigeria needed to be careful about it. We have been a mono economy for so long. Now we are diversifying. And then as you diversify, you then go into agreements that will stifle local initiatives again, that will not be good. But with the Commonwealth, intra-Commonwealth trade, I'm sure that the frameworks will be explained, and each country will look at it. I remember it was said that the ministers of trade of the Commonwealth will have another meeting, I think sometime in June, where they will work out the modalities. So each country will have the opportunity to make its input and say, this is good for us, this will not be good for us, and they will come to an agreement.
I appreciate your thoughts on this. We'll take a short break now. Don't forget, you can join the conversation by tweeting at Channels TV, at UK in Nigeria, at Paul Arkwright, Paul T. Arkwright, at Commonwealth 18, using the hashtag CHOGM18. Stay with us. We'll be right back.